So you understand a lot of Spanish. You're in a conversation, you're listening, you're following along, and then suddenly that person asks you a question and you understand it, but your mind just goes blank as far as how to respond. You hesitate, and what ends up coming out of your mouth barely reflects all of the Spanish that you understood. So you start thinking, maybe I need more vocabulary, maybe I need to study more grammar. But what if that's not the problem? What if the reason why you can't speak isn't because you don't know enough Spanish, but because you've been practicing in the wrong way? The reality is, understanding Spanish and speaking Spanish are two related but very different skills. So if you've only been training one of them, of course there's going to be a gap. So in this video, I'm going to show you what you need to do differently if you actually want to start speaking Spanish with confidence, just like one of our students, Colleen.
I actually now have the confidence since starting to talk to my coworkers at work, and that they've been saying, how well I've been doing. I've been seeing conversations go better. My friends that I travel with have said, oh geez. So I think I've taken my studying to a whole different level.
We'll get back to Colleen in a few minutes. But first, if you and I have not met before, hola y bienvenido, soy Erika Ray. I'm a former Spanish medical interpreter turned Spanish teacher and language coach, now living and loving life abroad here in Mexico. I've had the immense privilege of helping hundreds of Spanish learners go from I'm studying Spanish to I can speak Spanish with confidence. And if that is your goal as well, I want to invite you to something very special. We're about to open the doors to my online school for an open house week where you can join live interactive conversation classes for an entire week for free. These sessions are designed in such a way that go far beyond just teaching you more Spanish. Their true purpose is to help you see a notable jump in your speaking confidence and flow and fluency in just 1 week. You'll have direct access to my team and to me because I'll be popping into several of these classes as well. And you'll have the opportunity to actually speak and build confidence in real time. We have different levels designed for the absolute beginner, the upper beginner, the intermediate, and even the high intermediate learner. You'll get all the details at the link that I'll leave below. And after you register, be sure to comment open house here in the comments so that I know you grabbed your spot, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you there. Most people, when they struggle to speak Spanish, even after a long time of listening to it and studying it, they usually think, okay, I need to learn more. And of course we do. We always want to be learning. But I want you to think about this. If you can understand Spanish, then you probably have a healthy dose of vocabulary and even knowledge of grammatical structures, be that consciously or unconsciously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to process what you're hearing. But the problem is that your brain is currently trained to recognize Spanish, not produce it. And this is because listening and reading require recognition, but speaking and writing require recall and construction of sentences in real time. Understanding is passive, speaking is active, and they are not the same skill. In order to improve our speaking, we need to practice output, and we need to put in enough reps so that we get to the point where we are speaking with clarity and confidence, eventually without having to even think about it. But what prevents people from doing that? What prevents learners from getting in enough speaking practice? Well, it's usually one of 3 issues, and sometimes a combination of several or all of them. Underestimating the importance of speaking, fear or anxiety, and a lack of opportunity. So let's discuss these one by one so that we can find solutions together. Let's start with underestimating speaking. What I have found over the years is that most learners massively underestimate how much speaking practice it takes to become a confident and conversational Spanish speaker. So what happens? They take a class a week, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and they're very diligent with doing their homework in between. So let's say that you are speaking Spanish for an hour a week, which is about 4 hours a month, about 12 hours every 3 months. And then you think, wow, I've been studying Spanish for 3 months, but I feel like I can't say much of anything. But how much did you actually speak? About 12 hours, or really less because part of the time you spent listening. Let's compare that to literally any other skill. If I tell you I started learning the piano and I have taken 12 hours of lessons, why do I still sound like a beginner? You would tell me, well, that's not very much. Or I went to the gym 12 times and I still don't have the body that I want. It's obvious that that's not a lot of reps, but somehow with language, we expect something different. And we start counting in time periods like weeks, months, years, without thinking about how many true speaking reps we've put in. How many hours have been dedicated to speaking? Have you ever done that? Have you ever counted the amount of time that you've been learning Spanish in terms of months or years without thinking about how much of that time you've spent speaking? Give me a like on the video if that's ever been you. When a lot of learners come to me for help, they've spent a lot of time consuming Spanish, listening to Spanish, YouTube and Netflix and podcasts, which is fantastic. And developing your listening abilities is a foundational element that many people miss. But when it comes to speaking, when we start digging into their routine and what they're doing, sometimes they've only had 10, 20 hours of speaking practice total. So of course there's a gap, and it's not that they're bad at speaking Spanish, it's just that they haven't been training the skill. So you may be under training the exact skill that you're trying to improve. And if that's you, and because I want you to be able to feel the difference that speaking makes, not just hear me talk about it, during our free open house week, you'll actually be able to step into real conversations at your level that feel structured and not overwhelming, up to every day if you would like, so you can start getting those reps in. So if you know you need more speaking practice, I encourage you to save your spot at the link below. Now, besides simply underestimating the importance of speaking and therefore not getting in enough speaking practice, let's talk about something else that gets in the way: fear or anxiety. Anxiety being more about unease over the unknown or anticipated situations, and fear based on real past or present scenarios. Many of us, myself included, feel at least some level of anxiety when we're going into a situation where we don't know someone well, we don't know what's going to come up in the conversation, or even fear from situations or conversations that didn't go well before. One of our students, Colleen, felt that way, but was able to push forward with the right approach. And we're going to be talking about the right approach here in a moment. But first, listen to what she had to say and see if you can relate.
In English, I wouldn't speak to strangers. Like I'm not I'm social, but I'm not good with people. Like I have stranger anxiety, if you will. So I don't speak to people in English in, strange situations. So now I'm speaking to strangers in another language. So it's anxiety on a whole level, but I feel like I'm doing very good with it.
So sometimes, either consciously or subconsciously, we avoid speaking because we feel nervous about it in some way. And so we stall, or we think, well, I need to build up my confidence more and then I'll start speaking. But this anxiety is the very result of not speaking enough. And not only not speaking enough, but not easing into it with the right approach. Think about this. If I ask you right now to give a 2-minute speech on a topic that you didn't prepare for, using vocabulary that you're not super comfortable with, while someone is standing right there waiting for your response, you may feel some level of anxiety over that situation. Even if you're not usually a shy or nervous person, you're simply unprepared for that moment. And that's exactly what's happening in Spanish. A lot of learners are walking into 100% of their conversations like, let's see what happens. No clear topic, no specific vocabulary in mind that they're going to try to use during this conversation. No sentences that they have ever practiced saying out loud before. And then their worst fear comes true. They're tongue-tied and they can't really communicate and they feel awkward and embarrassed and they don't even want to be in that situation again. And they label that as, oh, I have a fear of speaking. But it's not just fear, it's the pressure from the lack of preparation and real-time demand. So people get stuck in this loop. I'm afraid to speak, so I avoid it. Because I avoid it, I don't get any better. Because I don't get any better, I'm still afraid to speak. And this only gets worse over time, because then learners get self-conscious, like, well, I've been learning for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And again, they start to label their time that they've spent learning Spanish in terms of weeks, months, or years, instead of how much of that time have I dedicated to speaking. This is exactly why I created Open House Week, so that if you've never done it before, you can experience what it's like to speak with structure and support regularly, so that you don't feel like you're jumping in unprepared. The goal is to change how you're approaching speaking so that confidence becomes a natural result. You don't have to just wing it. You can do 3 things: prepare around a specific topic, practice saying some things out loud before the conversation, and then use what you've been practicing in real interactions. I call it prepare, practice, present. And so instead of I have no idea what to say, it becomes, okay, I've talked about this before, maybe in a little different way, because you asked me the question a little bit differently than what I was expecting, but I am not starting from ground zero. I am not completely lost. I can still express what I want to say. And when you do that again and again and again and again, this is when confidence starts to build. And we start spiraling forward and advancing rather than spiraling backwards. And it's something that you need to do regularly. It's not about, okay, I prepared, I practiced, I had a conversation, I should feel confident by now. Although sometimes that truly does happen with a lot of our students, because this approach is so different from what they've been doing that they feel the confidence boost immediately after one day. But for long-term sustained confidence, of course, this is something that you want to do regularly. You have to repeat this cycle enough time so that your brain starts to recognize, I've done this before, I've been in this situation before, and it went okay. I can do it again. And this repetition is so important, and it's what a lot of people miss even when they are practicing their speaking. Because have you ever wanted a second chance at something, like a second chance at a conversation? Have you ever had a conversation and you think, oh, if I had understood that person's situation better, I wouldn't have said that, or that just came out differently, or that just came out wrong, I didn't want to say that. And you wish you could just rewind the clock a couple of minutes and have a second chance. A very similar thing happens when we're learning another language. Sometimes we are speaking and maybe someone even corrects us, and then we're like, okay, and then the conversation moves on and we just cannot remember the corrections that we got, or maybe there was no feedback at all and we expressed ourselves in some way, but we think, oh, I just now remembered the words that I wanted to say, but the conversation's over. So real life doesn't always give us those second chances. It doesn't always give us those opportunities to apply what we've learned, maybe what we've just learned, or maybe knowledge from the past that just got to us a little bit too late. We really don't have a chance to do it again until who knows when, later, when this particular topic comes up again in our everyday life with another person. So that's why during Open House Week, you're going to see this repetition, so that you're not just learning about a topic and learning new vocabulary and a new grammar point once and then moving on, but rather you can have the same or a similar conversation with the same person multiple times, or with multiple people, sometimes in the same session. It's this repetition that we all wish we had in the real world, so that we could instantly apply what we learned, instantly apply corrections that we've received, and so this confidence can continue to build. So all of this goes a long way in helping to reduce fear and anxiety. But what about our last point? What else keeps people from speaking enough? A lot of times it's a simple lack of opportunity. If you're not always surrounded by Spanish speakers in your everyday life, it is highly probable that you won't have consistent opportunities to speak with real people. And even if you are living in a Spanish-speaking country or environment, like many of the learners who reach out to me, your real life doesn't always allow for you to be constantly engaged in conversation. So the real question becomes, how do you create consistent speaking opportunities in a way that actually fits your real life? because so many people know what they need to do, but they don't have anyone to practice with. They don't have a clear structure. They don't have a system helping them do this consistently. This is why the Caminos Conversation Club, our online program, exists. It's designed to give you the speaking reps that you need without having to do it all on your own, at different times, on different days, so that you can fit Spanish into your schedule. And opportunities to connect Monday through Sunday, morning, afternoons, or evenings, whatever works for your real life, even if your schedule changes week to week. Every week has a clear conversational topic and goal, and simple prep material so that you can reduce that fear and anxiety and know what's going to happen in class. So instead of wondering, when am I going to practice? Who am I going to speak with? What should I even say? You have a system where all of that is already built in for you, and guidance from instructors so that you can apply the corrections immediately if you would like. So that all you have to do is focus on learning when it's convenient for you. Do you know how much easier it is to be consistent and put in the reps that you need that way? So Open House Week is your chance to experience this method in action and see how it works for you. You can sign up below and save your spot and come and join us for a full week to speak Spanish, and in that week, speaking way more confidently on that topic than when you start. You can find all the details at the link below, and I cannot wait to see you there.
Don't wait. I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my Spanish learning is not getting the right resources, not becoming involved in the CCC and the Elevate programs earlier. I think if I would have found this program earlier, I would have catapulted my Spanish a lot faster. And I think taking the tools that you learn in this program really help you learn in a more efficient manner.